Namaste everyone, Yoga Chris here, and we're going over the Sun Salutation. This is day 2, so there's a day 1 that covers how to move the arms, the intelligence through the arms, and this is day 2 that's going to include forward bend. And we have to remind ourselves a little bit while we wait for people to join. We have to remind ourselves, what are we doing with the Sun Salutation? This is a core center point of the Hatha Yoga practice, but Hatha Yoga is for Raja Yoga. We're doing physical yoga so that we can tune into mental yoga, and at the pinnacle of Raja Yoga is just yoga, and so we're using the Hatha Yoga to do the Raja Yoga. So we're using the beginning of our Hatha Yoga practice, the Sun Salute, to tune into the experience of Raja Yoga, royal yoga, meditation, as we commence our yoga practice. Okay, so the way that I do this and how I teach this is through visualization of certain parts of the body that can tune you into that part of your mind that is open to a meditative quality, to a physically, a practice that you're exerting yourself a lot in. Okay, so I have my little skeleton here, and if ever I refer to something from another video, like for instance, I can tell you right now, Uddiyana Bandha is going to be very important for what we're doing. So you could call the starting position, which I'll demonstrate, would be first position in an Ashtanga vinyasa count, which is a kind of transcendental meditation. You look up John Scott, he talks about it, but there's a count and a breath and a position that's associated in that system. So first position is samastiti, second position would be arms up. What we're covering today is third and fourth position, the forward fold and the extension of the spine. There's Uddiyana Bandha is very important for that, so if you don't know what that is, stay on the video now and I'll link it later and you go and you study Uddiyana Bandha. Mula Bandha is important, and also these datums that I'm about to share with you. So here's Bill. And there's lots of datums on the body that are super important, and the Sun Salute is for the full body, so but we don't need to cover all of that right now. So the three that are really the most important would be the pelvic floor, and I'll go over these a few times, the rim of the pelvis, and the level of the floating ribs. So there's 12 ribs, and the bottom 3 are said to be floating because they don't go all the way around and attach to the sternum. So somewhere in there at that level. And Bill is not super sturdy, so if I drop him, he'll be all right. So, okay, those 3 levels. When we talk about the pelvic floor, there's a few features. There's the tip of the tailbone, there's the sitting bones, there's the inside of the femur, called the lesser trochanter, that's where like your inner thigh muscles attach, and there's the outside of the femur, the greater trochanter, where lots of things attach there. It's just your hip bone, excuse me, I got a runny nose. So it's all of those. It's the level of, that is the level of the pelvic floor, is the tailbone, the 2 sitting bones, the inner thigh and the outer thigh. So keep that in mind when I refer to pelvic floor. The rim of the pelvis, the pelvis kind of drops off and then disappears in the front, but I'll just go ahead and put this aside and show you. If you can kind of increase your awareness, your feeling body, and just run your thumb, if you can run your thumb around the rim of your pelvis and become aware of that level of your torso, because if you were to continue that line around, it does drop off and it becomes like this cavity where your belly is. But if it were to continue, there are important features of that muscles of the abdomen that occur at that level, and I cover that in my workshops. We're not getting into it now because I need to show you pictures, but it's the visualization of the halo, of a halo at the pelvis. So if you're standing, first position, samastitihi, you have the floor of the pelvis, which is right there. You can feel your hip bones. It's obvious. There's like the rim of your pelvis, and then there's some soft tissue, the outside of your hip, and then there's
another bony point, and then it goes down to your femur. That bony point is the level of your pelvic floor. So if you do a little Kegel or a little, anal contraction, just pucker, and that's, or, pretend like you're resisting the urge to urinate, and that is occurring at the same level. So get that straight in your mind, because a lot of times what we're doing in Hatha Yoga, some of it is integrating our idea about all the various systems of the body, because in our minds they're discombobulated, they're not connected. So we're unifying, and part of it is become aware that the sensation of resisting the urge to urinate is occurring at the same horizontal level as your tailbone and your hips. Now granted, it's not like super precise, but that's the geometry of it for the visualization. There's that's one. Two is the rim of the pelvis, just a halo around the whole rim. And then three is the floating rib circle, which is somewhat ambiguous. And so just think of it as like the bottom of the rib cage. It's vague and unclear because the ribs, they dip down, and then the eighth rib kind of dips up again and connects at the sternum. Ninth rib, eighth rib, they both do that. So just around that region that's just below the bottom of the sternum, but kind of above the navel. Okay, this is the region where Uddiyana Bandha, the pulling in and up, occurs in the belly. It's useful to visualize these three halos perfectly aligning over each other and coming into a parallel with each other. So knowledge of the fact that in your normal stance, and this is all going to come into play when we forward fold, because we want to maintain this single position. The Sun Salute, we're entering into the meditative aspect, the Raja Yoga of the Hatha Yoga. And the Raja Yoga is a single position. This is an important distinction, that what is Raja Yoga is that singularity of consciousness. And what they would say in the Yoga Sutras is Tada Drashtu, to identify with Drashtu, the seer. And so we're using Hatha Yoga to step into that, just literally to take some steps. Inhale, arms up, exhale, forward fold. These are just step after step after step to step into the experience of Raja Yoga. And Raja Yoga is the singularity of consciousness. So that could be translated as single position. And David Garrigues likes to call it that, and I find that useful. The single position, you're stepping into that single position, which is samastitihi. Or as an example, in Hatha Yoga, there's many single positions, but single position, and there's an alignment that comes with this, which has to do with aligning these halos. I've given you, let's see, in the shoulder stand video, I gave you the first rib circle and the cheekbone. There's 12 total, but really 8 gross ones. And I'll cover all of this in Sanyama Part 3, but Sanyama Part 1, which comes out on October 1st, clarifies 2 of these circles. The heart rib circle, which is rib 6, 7, one of those two. It's like the intercostal space between them. And that occurs at the inferior angle of the scapula. The first rib circle is the top of the scapula. So these horizontal halos, we want to bring them parallel. Now if we add to that the floating rib circle, the rim of the pelvis, and the floor of the pelvis, now we have a alignment of these 5 very important, but for this video, if that's too much, just think of the 3. The floor of the pelvis, the top of the pelvis, the bottom of the rib cage, a ring. I visualize like a halo, or like I used to play frisbee golf, like a frisbee almost, and it's as if the frisbee can look at the other frisbee exactly in the direction it's facing. So I want to make all the frisbees look at each other, and they're in that position. Then I create Khechari mudra. So if you don't know that, I'll link that below. So just soften the tongue and create space in the back of the throat. Now from day 1 Sun Salute, we know to inhale the arms up, and then we have the arms lowering on the exhale. This time on the exhale, we fold. But here's super key distinction. And I made this mistake for a long time, and I started to injure my knees. We want the weight really, really forward. So forward that it's almost as if you fall. From that position, then I stamp the heels down. So the calves are engaging as if I want to come to my tippy toes, and from there I stamp the heels down as I go into my fold. This is very healing. It's incredible, and it should feel uncomfortable. And your hands are there to block you. And if your hands aren't going to make it all the way to the ground in our forward fold, I would say keep the legs straight, but it's not about pushing the knees back. It's about leaning into the balls of the feet and then stamping the heels down. That will naturally engage what needs to be engaged if you just follow those instructions. Lean into the balls and then stamp the heels down as you exhale to fold. So if reaching the ground's not in the cards for you, you just reach the legs. Wherever you reach, maybe the lower the ankle, or I like to go to fingers. Okay, so it's okay. Let's begin to put it together. Actually, let's dissect it. So we're going to put it all together, but on the exhale is a fold to the fingers with straight arms looking forward. Go ahead and inhale and exhale through the nose. And you are to feel the tipping in this position, almost as if the heels of your feet want to come up, but then you stamp them down by engaging the front of the legs. Notice here that the legs, they want to internally rotate, so you encourage external rotation. That's a gentle heel squeeze together, balls of the feet spread just slightly, just so you feel it behind the glutes. And super key distinction, we're training so many patterns here. Pull from the hands. So lean into the toes, stamp the heels down, and then pull from the hands so you can feel the front and the back of the armpits. Pull the upper arm bone back and into the socket. So pulling, go ahead and on the next exhale, fold. But now keep the weight in the balls of the feet so the heels almost lift, and then stamp the heels down as you fold and gently push into the ground with the hands. Or if you're on the legs, you just push into the hands. Okay, so go ahead and inhale to come up.
So here's where super key distinction of the bandhas come into play. This is supposed to be for kind of beginners and for all levels, and we could discuss the theory and the intricacies of how to use bandha in the Sun Salute for a long time, and that experience deepens. But so if this is not in your realm, in your vocabulary, what I'm talking about, just kind of listen in for the next 60 seconds, and then we'll jump back into moving and breathing. For those that have a concept of Jalandhara Bandha, the throat lock, and Uddiyana Bandha, the I don't really like the word lock, but think of it, belly lock, is really important as we inhale to extend into the third position. That is, the fourth position. There's an Uddiyana Bandha. So as I'm forward folding, and a half forward fold, and I'm reaching the chest forward, there's a pulling in and up of the belly, and this helps clarify the three halos that I'm talking about here. We want to keep these three halos in alignment, ideally through the range of motion, but obviously when we fold, there's going to be some rounding, and so they're not in perfect alignment, but we want to keep that mental connection. What makes the halo imagery so powerful is the abdomen is complex. All the joints are complex. There's lots of things going on, and complex not in a kinesiology sense, because that's a jargon word. Complex would mean multi-articulate. There's multiple things going on. I mean complex in the sense that it's just not simple to understand. And the halo imagery allows you to easily engage 360 the joint. Basically what I'm saying is there's lots of muscles and ligaments that cross the joint. And when you focus on engaging one side of a joint, let's say straightening the legs by lifting the kneecaps, and you ignore the back of the joint, let's say where the hamstrings are, complications tend to happen, because the body's not designed to do that. The body's designed to really be 360 animated, aware in all directions. As an animal, very dynamic. And our life as a human is patterned in a way that it's not so dynamic. So we want to bring that animation into our body during yoga practice. We give ourselves 10, 15, 30 minutes, 90 minutes, however long your practice is, to just reanimate your body in all directions. And so the halo imagery helps to do that with these key joints, being this point where the thoracic spine meets the lumbar spine, there's a key joint. This point where the lumbar spine meets the pelvis, there's a key joint, that's the rim of the pelvis. And this point where there's lots of things happening, the hip socket, the floor of the pelvis, at that point. And so we want to keep those level as we exhale to fold. Now, the full motion would be an inhale, the arms up, exhale, fold with that full aliveness in the arms, and then you go straight all the way into the forward fold. All the while, almost falling forward, but then stamping the heels down. Then the inhale to lean with the chest, and you keep the Jalandhara Bandha sensation. So there's this flexion at the head neck, where the head meets the neck. Not a flexion of the neck, but a flexion of where the head meets the neck. When you feel that sensation of elongation, which will, it'll percolate down into the lower spine. When the neck elongates, the lower spine elongates. It happens. I didn't make it that way. It just happens. So when you feel that sensation of elongation, then maybe you look forward, if you got that down. But don't crunch the neck thinking you're supposed to look forward. It's a Jalandhara Bandha sensation. And then the exhale would be fold again, and then inhale to come back through first position. So that's the baby sun salute we're doing. So you can see me a little more. I know my arm's cut off, but you don't need to see that. And so we only need a little square area to do this full practice, full body practice. 3 datums: floor of the pelvis, rim of the pelvis, floating rib circle. If you want to join me, I'll give you a chance to do this more on your own breath during this class, but the motion would be an inhale, the arms up, exhale, fold, all those key points leaning all the way folded, look in towards your navel. Inhale to reach the chest forward, Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha, pull the armpits down, and then exhale to fully round fold, keep the lean, stamp the heels down. Inhale, standing, arms up. Maybe you look up or just refer to day 1 sun salutes on what to do, and then exhale the arms down. Okay, so this first time we're going to go speed 0, or whatever setting you want to call it. We're doing 3 speeds: slow, medium, fast. This first one's super slow, and then I'll give you a chance to do it at your choice, but I'll guide you through it together. We'll do it. So find first position, align all your halos, the bottom of the ribs, the top of the pelvis, the floor of the pelvis. Find your breath, create space behind the tongue. On an exhale, reach the fingers down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold as you lean and find Uddiyana Bandha and fold. And inhale, reach the chest forward, pull with the fingers or hands. Exhale, fold again. Inhale to standing, keep all 3 halos aligned, facing each other. Exhale, the arms down. Bottom of the ribs, top of the pelvis, floor of the pelvis. Take a couple breaths in between each one. This next one, maybe you stay at my pace, or just think of it as just, half a speed setting faster, just a little, just noticeably faster for yourself. And so exhale fully, reach the pinkies down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold, lean into the toes. It's okay if you fell. Inhale, reach the chest forward, lengthen the neck. Exhale, fold, stamp the heels down. Inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, hands to the thighs. Take a breath in between. This last one, we'll go fast, and just stay safe and keep the visualization is the key. That's the Raja Yoga. Hold on to the single position of what you're visualizing, and then just breathe and move through it. Your body will figure it out. Exhale, reach the pinkies down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach the chest forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand, arms up. And exhale, hands down. Okay, so I'm going to take you through the practice one last time, and we're on perfect timing. And here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do first one slowest, second one medium pace, third one is my fastest. When I conclude, I'll take a few breaths in samastiti. Really, the keys for me are lean into the balls of the feet and then stamp the heels down. Lengthen the neck, and I'm really thinking about my spine as my single, that entity which my consciousness resides around. Like I'm most concerned with my spine. Everything else just falls into place seemingly as long as I breathe and I'm aware of my spine. Okay? So, 3 of those, and then we'll reconvene back in a second. First one is slow. Whatever slow means for you. Take a breath in between each baby sun salute. Maybe go with medium speed now. Come back to that single position when you're done. Really recenter, find Raja Yoga, find single stable consciousness in your body alignment, in the geometry. Observe it, create space behind the throat, and just return to the experience of yoga, and maybe go your final repetition. Good. So that felt really good for me. That was really good practice. And that could be Sun Salute. It's not uncommon. When I was working on my PhD, some days I just didn't have the time, and I literally 1 to 5 Sun Salutations. That practice happened once a month. It's like I didn't have time for anything else. So, but it's very, it integrates the whole body. It doesn't have everything, obviously, but it's enough to tune into that single consciousness, and that's really where the comfort and ease, especially with the stresses of the day, it's just about not identifying with the chaos. You do it, you do your duty, but you know, it's gonna fluctuate. Don't attach to it. When it's the good times, enjoy it, but you know, it's the hard times are gonna come too. So if you have any questions, I'll check. Feel free to type them, and yeah, we're gonna complete the Sun Salutation series. If you didn't see the video on the Heart Seal comes out October 1st, and that's going to be really phenomenal for integrating the arms into the core and doing a lot of therapy if you ever have tension or pain around the neck, or if you have, like, you know, you want to calm your heart rate, you want to get into meditation but you don't know how. This isn't a meditation product, but it definitely will show you how to calm your mind and learn how to create space in your thoughts so you can meditate. Make sure to do this in practice. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, any other comments? Just a few moments left. Is there anything else I want to say? I would say key, super key in my healing journey with the Sun Salutation has been in regards to the quadratus lumborum, which is this muscle that attaches the top of the pelvis and the back to your spine and ribs, lower ribs. So it's right there, basically below the kidneys. And healing that imbalance that was occurring there has largely been due to visualizing the rim of the pelvis at the back, especially in sun salutes. And we haven't finished the sun salute, but like the low push-up, the upward dog, the downward dog, visualizing this back rim, the level of the pelvis. Keep that in your consciousness. We don't have as much sensation in our back body as we do in our front, nervous system wise and proprioception wise. So clarifying that. And it's about clarifying your body, so that you can bring it all into your awareness, and then you get a little control about your healing journey. And that's all I want to say about it today. So tune in next time, and namaste.